Hey, how's it going? This is Eric Brown. So today we're going to be talking about the two pieces of work, life at the iron mills and at the station. So to begin, I guess we're gonna start with Life in Iron Mills, by Harding Davis. So in this short story, it struck me as I'm gonna say a beginning piece of writing for him. It was a good piece overall, but to me it was a little harder to understand, a little harder to follow than his later work at the station. So with that being said, I think that in Life at the Iron Mills, he was trying to capture too many things in one piece, if that makes sense. So, for example, he was trying to show Deborah's and Hugh's, weird love story at the same time as trying to portray how bad life was at the mill. And then, the stories also feels a little rushed, as from going to describing the whole love story to then, the boss is coming and she's stealing money from them. So it all progressed very quickly. Whereas in life, I mean, then at the station, at the station, the story is built. It's a shorter piece, but the story is also built better. As in, it starts off describing Miss Dilly, and then here and there mentioning stuff about her brother, but also at the same time mentioning like what was important to her and what is important to everybody at the end that Miss Dilly stayed at. And then seeing that we're the inn and the train and how important the train was to the people at the inn. It just shows that, to me, it was built better. It was easier to follow, easier to understand. Like, I had to reread Life in Iron Mill a few times to try to understand what was going on. Your lesson for that week was also very helpful, and me seeing things I hadn't seen the first time I read the story. So now let's compare a little bit of the two between the two works. So between the two works, there's a lot of similar themes and things of that nature that I saw. And one was love story. Love, that was very important in both. In Life in Iron Mills, it was all about Deb and Hugh. You know, Deb didn't care about nothing else other than Hugh, making sure he was happy. You know, in the story, it said that she had went through the pouring rain to deliver a meal, and then even furthermore at that point, Hugh, pretty much lied to her and told her the food was good just to please her. That's all they had to live for besides the meal. And that's something that they probably did not focus on a lot because it was such a negative work environment. And then we moved to at the station, and Miss Dilly probably is the sweetest woman to ever walk this earth or whatever, because she waited 10, 20 years on her brother, who she didn't know if he was coming back or not, but she waited just in case that that odd chance that he does, and he actually did. And one thing that really stuck out to me in that story was when she prayed to God that her brother would come back, and she believed that prayer so faithfully that she went above and beyond before talking about she always went above and beyond when handling client people that came to the inn and everything else. But then after she had prayed that prayer, everybody noticed she became even more loving and helping, trying to please others. And I thought that's crazy that she believed that much that her brother was coming back. He ended up doing coming back. So the next piece of symmetry that I found was the poorness in both stories. So both stories, Life in Iron Mill is about immigrant worker that comes to the United States trying to make a living, realizing that you might be better off in the United States because you're out working, but life is miserable. They're using rags as blankets, old ale to cook food. Literally they work and then they go home and drink, and that's all they have. At the station, in Life at the Iron Mills, they said the house was an earthen floor covered with green slimy moss. Like, that's what they slept on. So that's, can't get much poorer than that. So and another piece of evidence from there was after Deborah had brought Hugh his meal, she laid in ashes just to be next to him while he was eating. So next, another, so poorness also reflecting at the station. Miss Dilly, you know, they lived in an inn, which wasn't ain't the worst thing in the world, but she did not have all the nicer things in life. All she wanted was to please others and for her brother to come home. So the only money they got income wise was from people who came on the train to stay for dinner. And they said that even then it was more just about, they were more grateful just to have people at the end than worrying about where their next paycheck was going to come from. So that's very good. But what struck out to me most about the station, and I probably already said this, but I'm gonna say it again, is just how willing everybody is over there just to help one another. They literally are living to serve other people, and that's what's make their life complete. And I don't know a lot of rich folk that I'm gonna say live to please other people. Not that they're selfish, but they're in it to make themselves look out for themselves. Whereas Miss Dilly and everybody else at the station, they knew they weren't going to be rich, so they just focused their life on making sure other people's lives were better. And I thought that was a pretty important thing to take away from that novel. So so to conclude, At Life in the Iron Mills and At the Station were written, a few years apart from one another. They share similar characteristics such as love. It's a love story, whether it be two lovers or a brother and a sister. And then Harding Davis also wanted to emphasize the fact that poor people could still be happy. It's not about money, it's more about relationships and what you do with life and how you live. So yeah.